Then, okay, let's say, okay, well, this is a TV crew working when he passed away, still now for CNN. That's a lot of money. But what about someone working with less tools, less things? So you might not know this guy, but most of you will know his work. And this is David, and he shot Jiro's Dreams of Sushi with a 5D by himself. He went to Tokyo and did a documentary for this guy who's Mr. Jiro, who is 90-something years old, and every day this guy wakes up trying to make the best sushi in the world. And then the next day he's gonna make it better than the previous day, and then the next day better than the previous day. And it's incredible, the standards and the whole dynamic between him and his sons and everything else. Really interesting. So he did this as a personal project. He spent, I don't remember, I don't have the stats maybe. But then because of this, because it was so successful, he ended up directing Chef's Table, which is by far the most beautiful food you will ever see photographed anywhere, period. It's incredible. So in 2011, he shot Jiro Dreams of Sushi at 28. He spent 1 month shooting, 10 months editing by himself. 7D and a borrowed red for the final pieces of the documentary. Most of it was 7D. Then he applied to film fests and had an international release, made $2.5 million in box office, which I'm sure he did not spend by himself 1 month shooting at a restaurant, for sure. So there's some money there. Then in 2012, streams on Netflix. By the way, Chef's Table was the first original Netflix documentary, the first one, which means it got all the views because there were no more. Now there are a lot more, but it's saturated, right? And now you don't know what to watch. This was the first Netflix original documentary in 2015, 4 years after he shot Jiro. 4 years is nothing. Then it's already on the 6th season. If you pay attention to Chef's Table, if you really pay attention, every episode, for the ones who don't know the show, every episode is about 45 minutes to 1 hour, and it's about one chef. And in different places. Could be in Italy, could be in France, could be whatever, in Argentina. But if you really pay attention, if you look behind the scenes, every show is the same. It starts with a normal person who wanted to be a chef, and nobody agreed that that was like silly, that was stupid, like you shouldn't be a chef. Then they go somewhere else to study to be a chef, to cooking school or working at restaurants. Then they go up and up and up and up, and then they become really, really good at that thing that they do. And then most of the time they come back to their own country. If they are French, they go back to France. If they are Argentinians, they go back to Argentina. And then they start with all this like fame that they had from before, and everything fails. They go bankrupt, they get divorced, like they lose everything. Then they are like, now what? I was like at the top of the game and now I'm no one. And then they start and they have to reinvent themselves. So they try new recipes, they try new ingredients, and they go for more like a local approach, and then they become the new thing and one of the best restaurants in the world with that new reinvention. Every single show is the same. It's not obvious. You have to be me in a way, like a geek, to be watching all the shows and then following the plot. But if you watch 2 or 3 or 4 with that in mind, you will see the story, which is fantastic because he's not trying to reinvent the wheel every single show. He already knows we're gonna start with this, we're gonna go here, and he's looking for that story. From a photographic perspective, if you also analyze the shot, he's also typically doing the same setups. He's doing the same interview with window light and the key light on the window light, and most of the time camera left and then this way, and very little motion for the interviews, and then lots of motion for the kitchen stuff, a lot of gimbal, a lot of Steadicam and things like that, and a lot of overhead shots for the finished dish. It's always the same, which is efficient. It's very good to work that way. Lessons from Chef's Table is that story structure is key. Once you find that recipe, it's your like grandma's like key lime pie or whatever. Once that recipe is good, don't change it. Just keep using it. You might enhance it a little bit here and there, but that's the recipe. That's the story structure. Consistency. Once you find that show that everybody wants to watch, keep it. Just keep recycling that story structure and adding more interesting characters to that structure. And extremely high quality standards.